Morning, how is everybody today? We're great, we're excited, we're so happy to be here. If I'm being honest, I'm a little upset this conference isn't outdoors because the weather outside today is spectacular. And if you're not from here, it is not normal, okay? The weather outside today is not the norm. So we're here to talk about creatives, and from what I've understand, there's been a lot of creative talk in this room today, so hopefully we'll cover something a little bit different than what you've already heard if you've been sitting in here for a while. My name is Ashley. I'm here with these awesome, lovely women here who will let themselves introduce themselves, and we are gonna cover best practices, strategies. We're gonna go through some of the tools that we're using to kind of create these assets that we're testing and optimizing, and hopefully leave some time at the end for some questions in case any of you have any. All right, sounds good? Kick it off, ladies.
Sure. I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Genevieve Ouyang, and I'm the Director of Mobile Marketing and Product Marketing at Realtor.com. So Realtor.com's mission is really simple. We want to make home buying and home selling easier and more enjoyable for everyone. In my role, I manage mobile user acquisition and retargeting, app store optimization, as well as helping to promote the right products with the right positioning and messaging. So I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here as well. My name is Nika Opu, Senior Group Marketing Manager at LinkedIn, the world's largest professional network, whereby our mission is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. In my role at LinkedIn, I oversee group marketing initiatives for the LinkedIn Learning brand. So some of you may not know about what LinkedIn Learning is. So it's actually a product within LinkedIn that actually curates and offers over 15,000 courses across different topics. And the goal is actually to help you achieve your goals. So that's me.
Awesome, thank you. So let's just jump right in. So it's a new year, and we're in February, which is mind-blowing that it's already mid-February. What are some of the strategies or the best practices or new frameworks that you and your teams are looking forward to testing in the new year?
So on the creative front, we've done a number of different campaigns. So search is very big for us. Works really well on the app side, of course. We do display, we do video, and retargeting. And so I want to talk about a few things here. On the display side, one thing that we have started doing last year is immersive ads. So immersive ads are kind of cool because they catch your eye, and they're a little bit different. What I mean is, so Realtor.com, of course, is in the home buying business. So imagine an app unit whereby we can target people who are in the framework of looking for a home, and using the phone's gyroscope, when you move around, you'll actually be able to pan around and see different parts of the room. So it's very 3D, very virtual reality-esque. There are a number of companies that do it really well, and they will even actually help you, if you give them your brand guidelines, they'll help you be able to create those assets. Those have been very successful as far as catching the eye of the audience, as well as install conversion rate. So we measure everything down to, of course, the install. We want to make sure people not only are clicking, but they're also installing. And then further down funnel for us is a lead conversion. A lead is defined as someone who's very interested in the home, and they want to submit their information and contact a real estate agent. So that's really a full funnel for us. So we measure everything in different parts of the funnel, and we make sure everything measures down even to the very end, to the lead submission, and it makes sense for us.
What are some of kind of the most important KPIs that you're looking at when you're measuring that funnel from top to bottom?
So definitely CPI and CPL for us, which CPA, or cost per action for some people.
Awesome.
Cool. I think on the LinkedIn Learning side, there's a plethora of different test ideas or strategies we actually looking to test this year. I think one of them is dynamic creative ads. And just in terms of how this works, first of all, we're looking to test this both on the LinkedIn marketing platform as well as other outside platforms as well. And the way this works is, first of all, understanding what your key who your key target audiences are, what your goals and objectives are as well. And then you upload all your creatives as well as your value prop messaging and your target audiences. And then the beauty about this is the algorithms on these platforms actually help you personalize the ads to your target audiences. So just by a quick show of hands, how many of you guys currently test into dynamic creative ads? Okay, so a few of you. Anyway, the great thing there is like there are a ton of opportunities in this space. I think what this allows you to do is actually scale your campaign and value prop messages, and also it helps you unearth insights that may have been overlooked. So for example, for one of our big brand awareness campaign, we actually tested into dynamic creative ads versus what I'm calling a curated ads. So for curated ads, you actually self-select what ads you want to show to your targeted audience. I think what surprising insights we found was that dynamic creative ads were actually effective in driving lifts in consideration, kind of like the mid-funnel metrics. However, when it came to like the self-curated ads, those were actually effective in driving like lift in aided awareness as well as aided and unaided awareness. So I'll probably say like this is still like a relatively new space people are really testing into. So you might actually get similar results or completely different results, but that's something interesting we're looking to test this year.
Plus one on the dynamic creative ads. I think that's certainly been very effective for us. The more personalized we find that we can get to the user, right? The user is that much more interested to look at it because you're serving them something very personal and very relevant to them. I was going to answer your first question with something else that we have started taking over and doing is smart banner ads. So, and how we define that is within our own ecosystem of our own mobile web site, we have a pretty large presence. We have 75 million unique users that visit all of our platforms, in which mobile web is the biggest one. And so we found that by looking and curating our own user base, we can actually be driving a lot more users into the app. And how we do that is we already were running some kind of banner ads, but I would say that the logic wasn't quite smart. In that I mean by, we were just kind of showing the banner like to everyone who was coming in. And so our team looked at it and really put some thought into the logic behind it, revamped the creative. And the logic is now actually showing it less, but we want to show it at points of interest where we see that people are a lot more engaged and more likely to convert to an app user. So for example, if we show them upon first visit of the mobile web experience, it kind of doesn't make sense. They haven't had time to browse and understand the value prop of what our experience is all about. But if they've seen 3 homes, or if they've saved 3 homes, then all of a sudden they're a lot more likely to be in market and interested. And so we found that has actually drastically increased conversion rate.
Okay, thank you both for sharing that. So I can imagine personalization being easy when you're buying a gift for your significant other, because you're kind of personalizing for one. But what tools or resources are you both using when it comes to not only creating these assets, but personalize them at scale when you have millions and millions of users that are coming and engaging with your products?
I can take it. Cool. I think one tool we're actually looking to start using is called the YouTube Director Mix. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this. So just had a meeting with Google earlier this week, and it's basically a new creative platform. It's automated that allows you to actually create personalized ads at scale. So the way this works is you actually pipe this tool into your back end, and you actually load in all your unfinished or uncut creatives, be it video assets, creatives, images, value prop messaging, and then this tool actually, based on your objectives and your target audiences, now actually outputs like hundreds of different creatives that you can actually test to. I feel like when it comes to just the creative process, sometimes it's very manual and autonomous, but I feel like there's actually value in having a tool like the YouTube Director Mix that allows you to actually scale and create personalized assets. So super excited to test into this and see how it performs.
What tools have you used in the past? It sounds like that's a new tool. Yeah.
So to be honest, we have great creative agencies.
Oh, okay.
But without them, I wouldn't be able to do my job. So I think creative agencies has been like really handy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Same here. We have a great creative services team in-house. On top of that, I would say a couple of examples are in search. So in Apple Search Ads and in Google UAC, there are also automated tools that are readily available and very easy to use. So in the case of Apple Search Ads, which we buy a lot of, you can actually target your keywords that you buy on Apple Search Ads to the screenshot. So an example is, you can have up to 10 screenshots, right, in the App Store. Maybe we're promoting a new product feature. For example, we're coming up with a noise filter very soon. So we might have a screenshot on noise, and then we might buy some keywords that are related to noise. So we can actually mix and match the keywords to that particular screenshot. Now the caveat is you have to have the screenshot as part of your largest set of the 10. You can't just have it just for the keyword itself. And then along similar veins, on Google UAC, Universal App Campaigns, Google can also be making your app video for you, using kind of your header, text, your star ratings and things like that, and mix and match it with music. That's also been effective.
Super great. Since you brought up screenshots, and this is a mobile conference after all, how do you and your teams work specifically in ASO and App Store optimization and creating and optimizing those assets? What tools are you using to run A/B test and kind of measure the performance there as it kind of relates to installs and users?
So ASO can be a whole topic in and of itself. It's huge. I do manage ASO in my role, so lots to speak about there. I would say in App Store optimization, a few things to look at. One is your visual, right? Making sure that your visuals and everything that you put out is representing what your brand is all about. That's first thing. Second thing is keywords, making sure it's just like an SEO kind of practice, but a little bit nuanced for the App Store. And then the third thing is reputation management. I feel like that piece is sometimes overlooked. And so what we do is we make sure that we look at the user reviews every day. We actually have folks that help us do this, but we also oversee it. And making sure we reply to users when they have questions or when they actually complain, hey, I don't think you can do this, right? How come I can't search for, I can't search by schools, for example. And we reply and we say, well, actually you can, and let me show you how to do it. And we've actually seen users who gave us like a 1-star, for example, and they were able to change their star ratings and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that, and they changed it to 5 stars. That's really great. And not only were we helping that user, we're also helping the thousands of other users who are reading the reviews. Going back to the screenshots and things like that, we did and still do a lot of Google Play Store testing because that platform is very easy to do A/B testing. iOS was more of a mystery to us because you can't A/B test, right? So we actually did engage with an ASO company that allowed us to do A/B testing with any element on the App Store, including screenshots, videos, copy. You can change the logo, you can change your title, anything. It was very interesting when we ran the test. How we did it was, at any one time, we would have 4 variations running. We'd have a control, so what was currently live on your App Store, and then we would have 3 other variations. So we would hone in on, each test would hone in on a different thing. One test would hone in on like the very first screenshot and what value prop we use on it. Another test would be on video, little elements of that or something like that. And what we found when we did like all these tests was changing the logo actually had a negative effect. It probably was not a good idea. And to be honest, we didn't change it too much. We kind of put on seasonal elements to it, like if it was the holidays, we put on snowflakes or something. It probably made our brand a little less recognizable. But what really gave it lift was the very first screen, copy testing on that very first screen, as well as video. And what I mean by that is in our test, we saw that, out of the 10 screenshots, we choose to have 8. The percentage of people that were looking at the first screenshot was actually upwards of 90%. But once it goes to screenshot 2, 3, 4, and so forth, it drops to 20% and then it tapers down. So that just shows me people are not necessarily horizontally scrolling. So we were at first spending a lot of time debating like, oh, should it be screenshot 4 versus screenshot 7? And we're like arguing about placement like that when we really should be focusing our energy really on screenshot 1. Because when people do a vertical scroll and they're looking at the search results page on the App Store, they're looking at you versus your competitor. Really, they're looking at that very first screenshot. So just be mindful of that.
That's really interesting. Thank you for sharing. Wanted to just ask you one quick question about that. When you're running the variants, is it a variant inside of the store, or are you guys emulating like what looks to be a store? Because I've seen it done in that way as well, where people actually create.
It's an emulation.
Yeah, so it's like, it looks like an app store, but it's not the app store. It's really, really interesting. Since we kind of live in this world that's very data-driven and numbers-focused, and it's all about like optimizing, optimizing, and optimizing, how do you and your teams work to find the balance between an ad set that performs well just because the numbers are where you want them versus an ad set that performs well and actually maintains the integrity of your brand? Like, where is the balance between the brand and the performance when it comes to this creation of assets?
Yeah, I actually think it's actually like a symbiotic effect. Like they actually work in conjunction together, meaning that when you think about like creatives in general, it's all about having a full funnel integrated approach, right? So for example, like if your goal is to drive brand awareness, you need to fill the funnel with like prospective customers that you can actually remarket to. So I feel whenever we actually run any campaign or initiatives, we're always having that full funnel lens. Example being that when we acquired Linda a couple of years ago, we had to, and we rebranded to LinkedIn Learning, we actually invested a lot in running global awareness campaign just to drive awareness of LinkedIn Learning. And before we actually said looking to actually do more down the funnel tactics or like initiatives, it was like, did you know LinkedIn Learning is now, Linda is now LinkedIn Learning, and that you can actually get access to this amazing wealth of courses. So I think it's like super important to understand like, you know, what your goals are, and then you now actually create creatives based on your goals and your target audiences, and then you can now like, that will actually help for like your remarketing or your retargeting strategy, yeah.
Great, thanks for sharing. Did you want to comment now?
I was just going to say, we were talking beforehand, the panel, and I feel kind of jealous that you manage both brand and performance. So I think that's a really good, good thing to have to be all managed in one team. Definitely a lot of good communication, and making sure you share best practices is what we found works well.
When you look at the different types of creative assets that you can create, whether it's screenshots or video and all the other elements in between that, does your treatment, when you think of your brand, does it change across those verticals?
Not really, actually, to be honest. It's all about like just intelligent testing, like put everything out there and see what actually works. I think on our end, we've done lots of testing in terms of different creative formats, like video versus carousel, static images. And what we've seen is like video tends to perform really well, because with video, you can actually convey the emotions of like your value props and your key messages. So not surprising why video actually performs well versus carousel or static image. We're actually looking to test into more doing like an A/B test of video and HTML ads, animated ads. I think that's also like a very interesting test. We hope to see like, you know, what those results prove. But I think just from like a brand perspective, it's all about like testing and find out what actually works for your brand.
That's great. So we have, what do we have here? 6 minutes. So I'm going to leave some questions, some time for questions at the end. So start thinking about them now, because I'm going to call on you. And one just key takeaway from each of you for the audience, whether it's something you've learned where you've like failed miserably and like it was a huge lesson, or just something that you just want to share generally with the audience in your kind of experiences and what you've learned in your roles.
I would have to say on the mobile app, if you're doing UA, I would definitely pay attention to the App Store, whether you are technically in charge of it or not, or you know you have some influence over it. And the reason is you could be driving the best UA campaign and have the best creative and things like that, but the user still has to go through the App Store in order to download. And so making sure your ads, the experience of the ads is going to be cohesive with the experience and the messaging in the App Store, making sure the App Store is on brand, as well as always featuring, you know, the latest value prop of why people should be downloading the app is key. And keeping the App Store just always super refreshed, because things do change. And when you have new product updates and you don't keep it refreshed, I think it reflects pretty poorly on the brand.
Well, I think from my perspective, it's always starting with the why. So why are you looking to launch this campaign or these initiatives? What are your goals and your objectives? Who are your key target audiences? I think that's really important. I think when it comes to creative testing, like there's so many stuff you can actually test, but actually understanding, okay, from this particular test, these are the things I want to actually learn. I think will actually help you guide like your creative process. And one thing we've actually found is actually bringing in our data science team. I know like the marketing team, of course, drives the creative strategy, but there are actually insights we've actually gotten from our data science team that's actually struck a chord with our customers. So I encourage you guys, like, use a data-driven approach when it comes to like, creating messages and actually testing into them as well. And the one last thing I will say, just take more intelligent risk. Have fun with it. It's actually creative. Like we're currently working on testing like a new programmatic campaign, and we've been working on like the data, the strategy, the analysis, and then we just got creatives back yesterday. And when we saw, we're like so excited because the creative is the most important piece that brings your campaign to life. So I probably say have fun with it, and like just put it out there in the world. You might get some good results, some bad results. There's always something to be learned. But at the end of the day, find what works for your business and for your brand.
That's great. Well said. So, take risks, test everything.